All right, we'll get started now. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this afternoon for this new webinar. We're delighted to organize a webinar today that's sponsored by Yooz, active members of the French Chamber, with also the very much appreciated input from BDO, who's also a long-standing member of the French Chamber. So thank you very much to Yooz for sponsoring and for those two companies for speaking today. We are going to talk today all about finance department and how AI can be useful for accounts payable, how AI can solve all these issues and help you, save very much needed time and costs. I'm not going to speak very long before I hand over to the speakers, so I just want to introduce the two speakers very quickly, and then I'm sure they'll tell you a bit more about them. We're very happy, as I said, to welcome Katherine O'Carroll from BDO. She's a director of business and outsourcing, and then Julie Breton is a consultant at Yooz. So we'll be hearing from the two of them very shortly. In terms of the agenda, you can see it on the slide right there. We're gonna first go, very briefly over what artificial intelligence, machine learning, data mining are all about. Then we talk about more specifically how these apply to accounts payable, and then we'll move even more specifically about Yooz can be useful in that context. Just before I hand over to Julie, in terms of housekeeping, we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So please, if you have any question at any point, send us your question through the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we'll be very happy to go through these at the end of the session. So don't hesitate to send in your questions. Now, without further ado, we'll start with the webinar, and I'm going to hand over to Julie, who will begin. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Lauren, for the introduction. So my name is Julie. I'm sales consultant at Yooz and mainly for the UK clients, so businesses, and I'm also working with accounting firm that want to implement AP automations in their company. So yeah, as Lauren explained, the goal of today is to discuss a bit more in detail how AI is working on a general way, but also how it can be useful in company directly for finance departments to gain in productivity, and also how it can be useful to you to have a better process in terms of traceability and also security. So let's start the presentations on a global presentation of AI and see what is exactly artificial intelligence. So first of all, artificial intelligence is everywhere because we find it in our private and also in our professional lives. So let's take some example. We have it, for instance, with our car that parking themselves, but also with a smartphone that identifying you with your fingerprint, facial recognitions, GPS, and also computer that recognize and analyze document automatically. So all these examples are AI actually, and the goal of today is to see how it's present in finance departments. But first of all, when we want to define artificial intelligence, we can say that AI is on a technical point of view, I would say, can be defined as a programming technique that goes beyond classic algorithm computing to stimulate human intelligence as closely as possible. So to define it a bit more simply, we can say that this is combinations of different techniques and technology, such as machine learning, deep learning. We also have data mining, robotics, expert system, and artificial neural networking. So it's a bit complex, and we can say that we have it in the professional life and in finance, thanks to AP automations. So now let's see how it can be applied in finance activities and in AP automation. So concerning artificial intelligence in finance, especially, it's appeared around 4 or 5 years ago now. However, this intelligence were present in company more than 30 years ago now. They affect every businesses, so we can find it from retail to banking, finance, also security or marketing. So for instance, with retailer, we can find it with automatically order form. We also have it with government that use it to handle income declaration, health insurance for social security. So it appears everywhere, and we also have it in finance, where we can use it to automate invoicing process. And this technique appear a bit more recently. So for finance departments, it has been particularly transformed the invoicing process, because in manual invoicing process, it can be composed of a lot of different steps, such as the invoice reception, the registration, the matching with the PO, validation, archiving, payment approval, etc. And the goal of AI here is to enable finance to automate this repetitive task and then progressively gain in productivity. So you can have more time based on value-added work and have a more strategic role in your company. For this, each manual step in the process, it can be replaced by an automatic function, which is AI, that will analyze, that will recognize, put in place routes and integrate into an information system. So this is how AI will be useful for finance to improve your process. Concerning the states of AI in the UK, so we have seen, thanks to analyze, that in the UK, AI is quite well known, and also something that business leaders are optimistic to put in place in their company if they want to improve their system. So thanks to a study from Microsoft maximizing the AI opportunity, this report shows us that for more than 67% of business leaders, they realized that they were open to put in place AI for their activity if this is something that will enable them to have a better process, a better activity, and improve their work. We also can see that for more than 40% of business leaders, they're already identifying AI and automations as a key step to improve, especially the financial management and the finance departments. So this means that in UK, we have a huge known of AI, and especially in finance. So now I will let Katherine talk a bit more about this.
Thanks, Julie. Just a brief introduction. So my name is Katherine O'Carroll. I'm a director at BDO. I work within our business services and outsourcing stream, focused on technology advisory around cloud, accounting and finance systems. So we come across a lot of this, both with businesses we work for through outsourcing, but also where we're working directly with the finance team. Over the last few years, there's been a big shift in automation, new technology, and supporting clients through that process to help them to identify where the benefits can be gained from introducing the new technology. One of the key drivers around the finance function as a whole has been around sort of reducing reliance on manual processing. Really thinking about how to streamline those processes and build that automation into system. Saving time. Limiting the amount of sort of manual paper and processes, especially at the moment supporting remote working, having a lot more agility in the system, and also, sort of aligning the focus of the finance team to more validation of the financial information as opposed to, the pure data capture. So in specifically thinking around, automation for accounts payable, listed on this slide here is a number of things that can benefit in respect of the systems, the things that we see all the way through from, new suppliers, through to the data capture, through to the approval workflows, allowing that automation to recognise what's being received, following processes that have been set up, the rules that have been set in respect of the processing, the data capture, and really driving those efficiencies through the system. Next slide, please. Thank you. Some of the big benefits in here, as I mentioned before, is the cost and time reduction, focusing more on the outputs for the finance team, as opposed to thinking about purely getting the data and managing the data in the system, allowing the systems to learn, as the information is being received, the systems allow that machine learning. So effectively, it's less hands-on, so that the processing can be dealt with in the background, and it's more about validation. A lot of the benefit that we've seen over the last few years is around the enhanced controls, thinking around those electronic workflows, reducing the paper, as I mentioned before, and also thinking more around the security of the system as a whole, whether that be from the existing system that you have in place, and effectively optimizing that with add-on applications such as Yooz to automate that process, through to a complete opportunity to enhance the overall finance function and the systems in place. Next slide, please. Thank you. So there's a number of things that we find can be a sort of barrier to finance teams embracing new technologies. There's probably things out there that I suppose myths to some extent, that it's too expensive, it's too complex, it's too long to implement. That's not necessarily the case, especially if it's something that can be optimized on your existing system, or as you look at maybe overhauling the entire finance function, is thinking about those add-on applications and what benefits you can get from those. It's an opportunity to really think about how processes can be move forward, can be enhanced across the entire finance function. It's really important to make sure that the right solutions are selected, and that goes right back to really understanding the requirements of the business, the requirements of the finance function, getting the right system in place, and thinking about how you go about implementing that as well. It's important to get those users that will be using the system on a regular basis involved in that process, really enabling them to embrace the technology, get the most from the system, because ultimately that's what the benefit, where the benefits are going to come from, is if the system's set up correctly, users are enabled, even thinking about how you deal with suppliers and thinking about how that data can come through, directly into system, rather than, I suppose, going around the business until it meets the finance function. So it provides much more visibility on, the accounts payable process. So there's definitely a lot of benefits that can be gained from enabling wider applications onto the finance system that can bring the benefits of the automation. Thank you. Back to Julie.
Yeah, thank you. So Katherine explained how AP automation and AI can be useful for businesses if you want to implement it in your finance department. So now let's see how AI and how Yooz can help you in your current organization. So just to come back briefly on the evolution of AI and the evolution of Yooz. So AI, as I told you before, is a combination of technology that keep improving in the years and that was creating during the 20th century. So this is also how the base of our solutions. And to build our AP automation, we have been exploring different AI technology since we were found, and literally from the very beginning. So For instance, during the 19, we start by using artificial neural network that recognize and writing numbers and letters. Then we created a template based to have a recognition approach, which was used followed by automatic text and shape classifications. Then we also, in the time, put in place and develop a recognition with a full text reading. So it's an approach that, without any requirements, is able to extract directly on the document information concerning your supplier, the different information necessary for the accounting entries. So it's just explain that thanks to the evolution of the technology and thanks to the evolution of AI, we were capable to improve our solutions at the same time, and we keep improving it on a daily basis. So as Katherine explained just before, AI will enable you to improve your process by putting in place a solution that can enable you to gain in productivity, because AP automation will automate the part of your activity, so automate the task that can be done automatically by the solution, so you can focus your work on more value-added task, and it's in the end enable you to reduce your cost and also have. So the goal of AP automation and of Yooz is to enable you to gain in productivity, but also in quality in your process, because it will enable to have a better traceability, visibility of your process, to see the different step you can have between the registration, between the different validation step, and also to gain in security, because, for instance, we can enable you to detect duplicate of document in the solutions. We can also detect fraud if there is any differences between the information on the bank detail of a supplier that is in the solution and the bank details on the documents. So Yooz is capable to detect the difference and the balance and to let you if there is any mistake. So AP automation and with Yooz, we really want to enable you to gain, of course, in productivity, but also in quality if you in your process, by having a better secure and a better visibility of the different steps you can have depending on your current organization and needs. So as we said before, AP automation is the possibility to automate your invoicing process. So you can see here the different steps that we can find in Yooz. So this is either an invoicing process or entirely your P2P process, so it can be very flexible. And our goal at Yooz is to provide to any of our clients solution that can be very flexible, depending on your organization, depending on your needs. Sometimes you already have an accounting system or a system that you use for your PO part. So in this case, we are capable to connect it with it to do the matching in Yooz. Sometimes we have clients that want to integrate their entire P2P process in the solution to have a full traceability of your from the purchasing management to the entire approval and payment of the solution. So we really want to have something flexible for all of our clients to answer any needs, and because any organization are different. So the first step is the purchase management. So if you want to integrate it entirely or partially in the solution, this is something we can completely do to create expression of needs, purchase requisitions, budgetary commitments, to create PO, send it to your supplier, do the good receipt, and put in place different workflow to approve the PO. So as I told you, we can integrate it completely in the solution or partially if you already have a system doing this part. In this case, we will import the information to do once we will do the registration of your invoicing, the matching with this information between your PO and the invoice received. The second step of the process will be the captures. The second or the first step, depending on if you integrate the PO parts, will be the captures of documents. So it's all the different way that we will put in place for you to integrate any type of document in the solution. So Yooz is of course a solution that will enable you to integrate invoice, but you can also integrate other type of documents. We have some clients that want to integrate legal documents, resume, because Yooz is a solution that will enable you to archive electronically documents in the solution. So for that, we have the possibility to import documents in few seconds, thanks, for instance, to the connection to one or different email address. If you have an email address dedicated for your supplier, we can connect it to Yooz, and in a few seconds, the invoice received will be in the solution for analyzing and for registration. We also have the possibility to access to the solutions thanks to a mobile app that will enable you to either, when you're an approver, to approve directly from your smartphone. We can also have the possibility to scan documents on batches. So if you still receive document on paper, you won't have to scan one by one document. You will just have the possibility to scan document on batches. So for instance, you receive 10 documents. In this case, you will just need to do one scan, and Yooz, thanks to a full recognition, is able to do the split automatically for you. So the goal here in the captures box is really to enable you to integrate easily and as much as possible automatically different kind of document in the solution. Then the solutions and AI will start working by reading the information on the document if we need to do an automatic split of the documents, and also to extract the information necessary for the accounting registration. And so this is the next step of verification and registration. So the OCR technology of Yooz is based, as I told you, on AI and full recognition. So it means that our technology is capable to work with any supplier, all type of invoices without any configuration. This is a big difference with mapping, I would say. So it means that Yooz will automatically extract all fields that generate the accounting entries on the document directly, such as the supplier name, the dates, the document references you have on a document, your different amount, etc. And then thanks to these informations and another part of AI, which is machine learning, Yooz will be capable to do the coding and the PO matching if you have a PO placed before. So when the document has been registered and everything is correct between the informations, the PO and the different amount on the document and the information calculated by the solution, in this case, you will have the possibility to register the documents, and we can put in place a smart workflow to approve documents. So this is something very flexible. We can put until 9 level of approval, and we can create easily routes depending on your organization. So if you need to approve documents, if someone need to approve documents on a specific per department, per amount, per supplier cost center. So this is really flexible to enable you to create routes and organizations based on your current organizations. And then we'll have the possibility to put a last step of your process to approve finally the payments before sending all the information to your accounting system for payment of the documents. So Yooz is a solution that can create multi-exports. So we use to be connected with any accounting system on the market. but we also can be connected to other other solutions. If you have a system dedicated for PO, or if you have an electronic management system where you want to put your documents, this is something we can connect with. And we can also do multi-exports at the different stage of your process. If you want to have an export for bookkeeping after the registration, and another exports at the end of the process for the payment approval, this is something we can also put in place very easily. So AI is really something that will enable you to have a solution that can enable you to have a real-time management of your process, and to improve your current organization as a finance department. So now let's see briefly how Yooz is also as a company. So because this is the name of our solution, but let's also quickly explain you who we are as a company. So as I told you, Yooz, so we are a solutions and also a company which was created in 2010. We are a French company that is part of the group ITsoft, who was created in the 80s. So we benefit from a knowledge in technology, in AI, for more than 40 years now. So our solution is a cloud solution. So it means that in terms of implementation, this is something that can be implemented very easily and quickly. And you just need to have an internet connection to access to the solution. Our goal at Yooz is really to provide one solution dedicated to document automation for all of our clients, and a solution, as I told you previously, something which is flexible in order to be adapted. We have a lot of clients that working in a lot of different sectors of activity. We have some client that processing a few hundred of documents and other million of documents. So we really want to have something dedicated in AP automation and simple to be adapted for all of our clients. So nowadays we're working with more than 4,000 clients. So in our client, we're working directly with businesses, but also with accounting firms that using and recommend our solution to their clients. So it represents more than 100,000 companies using the solution you use for their finance process in more than 30 countries. So yeah, as I told you briefly, we are present mainly in Europe, because our head office is in France, and we also have an offices in London, and we also have another offices in the US that cover the American markets. So as you can see, as we are present in a lot of countries, we are capable to automate and analyze documents in different languages without no problem. The technology is working with any languages. And as you can see with the different logo here, as I told you just before, we are really present in different sectors of activity. I would say that one of the main points of our clients is that for 50% of them, they are organized on a decentralized organization. So it's mean that they're having different offices, different sites, and then want to put in place solutions in order to enable them to have a better traceability of the process, and something which is simple to be implemented in their company, and something which is if you have something simple, it's mean that you will also have your employee that use it also very quickly the solution and want to work with this solution. And the main point also of Yooz is that we are a solution dedicated for AP automation. So it means that we are independent, and we can work with any accounting system. So we have developed more than 250 connectors with different accounting system, ERP, etc. And we are really able to connect with any systems because on the market we have a lot of accounting and ERP. So yeah, this is I will let Lorian do the Q&A.
Hi everyone, thank you so much Julie and Katherine for your presentation. As Julie just said, we have a few minutes to take some questions. So if anyone would like to send us some questions through the Q&A box, please do so right now. Just while we see if anyone wants to come in with some question. Julie, can you tell us, is that the kind of solution that can be really used by any size of company? As a small company, as a startup, is that something that can be integrated, or is that a solution that's more directed to larger groups?
No, actually, it's really flexible. Why? Because the solution, actually, AP automation is something that can be useful for any company. So it can be very useful for any size. And if the question is in terms of price, this is something also flexible because our solution is based on our monthly subscription is based on the volume of documents that you will process per month. So if you have a few hundred of documents, you won't have the same price, of course, as a bigger company. And we also can adapt our monthly subscription if you have a seasonal activity. So no, it's really something that can be useful for any size of businesses and even small businesses. We have some clients that have less than 100 invoice per month, and that using the solution to enable them to automate this part in their process.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions coming in? I'll just leave a couple more minutes. Oh, yes, we have a question that's coming from one of our participants. Juliette asks us, I was wondering if you could please provide some information on VAT coding through AI. So we currently have many tax codes, but we could not rely on the PO creator to ensure that they select the correct tax code.
Okay, so the solution is based on full recognition of the information that you will have on the documents, but also on machine learning. So during the setup of your solution, we will integrate the information you have on your organization. So all the information related to your chart of accounts, to your different tax code, if you have different tax codes, supply list, etc. So the first time we will enter the information for a supplier, we will enter all the different tax code you have for this specific supplier. And then the next time that Yooz will analyze and register an invoice with your PO, in this case, it will be able to extract this specific tax code. So of course, if you have different tax code, this is something we used to do very frequently. So yeah.
Thank you, Julie. Yeah, sorry, did you want to add something?
Yeah, so it's the case of tax code, but we also have the case for analytics or cost center. So it's the same way we can integrate and automate the allocation and the registration of cost center as well as analytics if you manage a cost center in your current organization.
Thank you very much. I don't think we have any other question coming in, so well, I'll leave another couple of minutes for people to send them to us. As you see on the screen here, you have the contact details of both Julie and Katherine if you'd like to get in touch about any question. Of course, Julie is your go-to person for further information about Yooz. I'm sure she'll be very happy to show you how the platform works as well. And Katherine and BDO have a wealth of knowledge to support transformation as well. So a big thank you to the both of you for your time today for this presentation. We'll share the presentation and the contact details with all the participants if you want to look into any of this in more detail. So thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.